You don't wake up one morning and realize everything's fallen apart. It happens slowly, quietly, over years. One skipped workout turns into a month of doing nothing. One late-night snack becomes a nightly ritual. One missed doctor's appointment turns into 3 years of ignoring the signs. One excuse becomes your default answer to everything. And then, without warning, it all catches up with you. You don't need a medical chart to tell you something's off. Your body tells you every morning. The stiffness in your back when you get out of bed. The tightness in your chest after walking too fast. The way your clothes fit a little too snug. The way you avoid your reflection because it doesn't look like the man you remember, the man you used to be. It's not just about the pounds. It's about the weight of regret, of lost time, of letting yourself down in small, quiet ways day after day. You might have spent years putting others first, your job, your kids, your responsibilities, and in the process you forgot that taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. You've been surviving, not living, drifting, not driving, existing, not thriving. You've probably tried to turn things around before, a New Year's resolution, a clean Monday, a piece of advice from a friend. And maybe you even stuck to it for a few weeks. Maybe you dropped 10 pounds. Maybe you started walking again. But then motivation faded. Life got messy. And before you knew it, you were right back where you started. That's because motivation lies to you. It makes big promises in the beginning, tells you that change will be fast, easy, even fun. But then when things get uncomfortable, when real life shows up, motivation disappears. It's fragile, it's moody, it can't be trusted. But discipline? That's something else entirely. Discipline is what remains when motivation is gone. It's what gets you up on the mornings you want to sleep in. It's what moves your feet when your legs are sore. It's the reason you say no to the fast food, not because you want to, but because you promised yourself something better. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. It's about doing what needs to be done even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unexciting. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about building yourself. Because deep down, you already know what needs to change. You don't need another app or another diet or another inspirational video to tell you what to do. What you need is a mindset shift, a reason that's bigger than your excuses, a vision of the man you still have time to become. You need to stop waiting to feel ready, because ready may never come. What needs to come is action. Repetitive, disciplined, consistent action. One step at a time. One good choice at a time. And here's the truth. Discipline builds identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you get stronger. Every time you show up, you cast a vote for the man you want to be. And slowly, day by day, you become him. Not overnight, but inevitably. This journey isn't about turning into someone else. It's about uncovering the man who's been buried beneath the years of neglect, doubt, and distraction. He's still there, and he's still capable. So if you've been stuck, if you've been tired, if you've been quietly wondering if it's too late, hear this. It's not. But nothing changes until you do. And it starts not with a feeling, but with a decision. Discipline isn't flashy, it's not popular, but it works. And it will carry you farther than motivation ever could. It's time to rise, not because you feel like it, but because you've decided to. Most people misunderstand what discipline actually means. They think it's about punishment, control, or forcing yourself to do things you hate. Maybe that's what you've been taught too, that discipline is rigid, joyless, and cold. that it's reserved for military men, athletes, or people who wake up at 4 a.m. to run marathons. But let me offer you a different definition, one that could change your life. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It's how you say to yourself, I matter. My future matters. My health matters. It's not about being harsh. It's about being honest. It's the decision to act in alignment with your values, not just your feelings. And that difference, that's everything. Motivation is emotional. It's driven by feelings, and feelings come and go. They rise and fall like the tide. But discipline? Discipline is rooted in purpose. It's driven by vision. It stands firm, even when the storm rolls in. Think about it. When you were younger, maybe you got away with running on motivation. But now life is louder, more complicated. You've got bills, a job, aches and pains, people who depend on you. You don't have time to wait until you feel like it. You need something stronger, more grounded. Discipline is that anchor. But here's the part no one tells you. Discipline isn't something you magically wake up with. You don't just decide to be disciplined one day and suddenly your whole life changes. It's built slowly, patiently, repetitively, like laying bricks. And it starts in the smallest places. Drink a full glass of water every morning, before coffee, before breakfast. Stretch for 5 minutes while your coffee brews. Park farther from the store and walk a little more. Track your meals, not to obsess, but to learn. Start noticing patterns. Take the stairs. Go to bed without your phone in hand. These are not grand gestures. These are small, intentional acts that send a message. I'm paying attention to my life again. When you do these things, your brain starts to trust you. That may sound strange, but it's true. For years, you've probably made promises to yourself and broken them. I'll start Monday. This is the last soda. I'll work out tomorrow. But tomorrow keeps moving, and every broken promise chips away at your self-belief. Discipline rebuilds that trust. Every time you follow through, no matter how small, you're telling yourself, I can count on me. That's not ego. That's ownership. That's you stepping into the driver's seat of your own life again. And here's where it gets even more powerful. The more discipline you build, the less energy you waste. You don't debate whether to go on the walk, you go. You don't argue with yourself about the food, you choose what fuels you. You save that energy for living, not negotiating. It's like training a muscle. At first, it's weak, it burns, it fights back. But with repetition, it grows. And soon, what once felt impossible becomes automatic. The 10-minute walk becomes 20. The early bedtime becomes a natural rhythm. The body you once avoided in the mirror becomes one you carry with quiet pride. Don't underestimate how much this matters. We live in a world that teaches men to hide their struggles, to power through pain, to stay quiet. But discipline gives you something powerful: agency, control. It's not about six-packs or protein shakes. It's about standing taller in your life, breathing deeper, moving with purpose. It's about being the kind of man who doesn't need a spotlight because he knows who he is in the dark. So don't worry about being perfect. Forget the all-or-nothing mindset. Focus on showing up today. Make one small choice that your future self will thank you for. Because discipline isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you build. And brick by brick, step by step, you become the man you were always meant to be. Discipline sounds simple until it's time to act. That's when the real battle begins, not in your muscles, but in your mind. The hardest part isn't lifting the weight or walking that extra mile. It's overcoming the voice inside that says, "Why bother? You're too old for this. You'll never stick with it anyway." That voice is relentless. It's not loud, but it's persuasive, and it knows all your weaknesses. Every man faces this battle. You're not alone, and you're not broken for hearing that voice. You're human. But the key to transformation lies in what you do when that voice speaks. Do you listen, or do you choose differently? Here's the truth. Your mind will always look for the path of least resistance. It wants comfort, safety, predictability. And every time you try to do something hard, like breaking old habits or pushing your body, you will feel resistance. You'll feel discomfort, doubt, even fear. That's normal. That's part of the process. But pain doesn't mean stop. Discomfort doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It often means you're doing something right. Growth feels uncomfortable. It's supposed to. You have to learn to separate real pain from imagined fear. There's the physical soreness of moving again after years of inactivity, and then there's the mental panic that says you're too far gone. One is the body adjusting. The other is the mind trying to protect you by keeping you small. Let's talk about excuses. I'm too busy. I don't know what I'm doing. My body's not like it used to be. I've tried before and it didn't work. All of these sound reasonable, but they're really just armor. They protect your pride. They let you off the hook, because if you're too busy, it's not your fault. If your body's too old, why even try? But here's a hard truth. Those excuses are costing you your health, your confidence, and your power. And the longer you believe them, the harder it gets to see yourself clearly. So how do you fight back? You start with honesty. You call out the lie. You tell yourself, yes, this is hard. Yes, I'm starting late, but I'm still in the game. You stop waiting to feel confident and start acting with courage. Confidence comes after the reps, after the wins, after the discipline. You also need to learn to expect resistance, not fear it. Expect the tired mornings, the cravings, the setbacks. If you expect them, they lose their power. And when they show up, you don't see them as signs to quit. You see them as signs that you're finally doing something that matters. Think of a man standing in front of a cold shower. He knows it's going to shock him. He knows it'll make him gasp, but he steps in anyway. Why? Because he's training his mind to do hard things. He's reminding himself that discomfort is not the enemy. That's the kind of mental grit you're building. Every time you push through, even a little, you're not just changing your body, you're rewiring your brain. You're creating a new relationship with pain, one where pain becomes your teacher, not your excuse. And here's something powerful. Every man has a breaking point, but discipline teaches you to push that point gently, consistently, until it moves. Until the thing that used to feel impossible becomes part of your new normal. At first, walking for 10 minutes feels exhausting. A month later, 30 minutes feels light. At first, skipping fast food feels like torture. A few weeks later, it feels like control. You start to realize you're not weak. You were just untrained. And now you're training. This battle in your mind, it's not going away, but it can become your training ground, the battlefield where you learn to rise, where you stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities to practice strength. That voice in your head that says you can't, you answer it with action, over and over again, until one day that voice gets quieter and your own voice, the voice of discipline, gets stronger. Discipline isn't just about building a stronger body, it's about building a stronger man. The kind of man who doesn't flinch when life gets hard. The kind of man who looks in the mirror and respects what he sees. Not because it's perfect, but because it's honest, earned. When you start practicing discipline, even in small ways, something deep inside you begins to shift. You're not just choosing healthier food, you're choosing to show up for yourself. You're not just walking around the block, you're reclaiming control over a life that felt like it was slipping away. You're not just resisting excuses, you're rewriting the story of who you are. That story matters. For years, you may have told yourself you were too far gone, that you missed your window, that this is just what getting older looks like. But discipline destroys those lies, because every act of discipline, every walk, every rep, every no to comfort is evidence that you still have fight in you. And that fight isn't about vanity, it's about dignity. This is about being able to play with your grandkids without needing to sit down after 5 minutes. It's about being able to walk through the grocery store without your knees aching. It's about going to sleep and waking up without medication. It's about being the kind of man your family can count on, not just emotionally, but physically, a protector, a provider, a presence. You see, when discipline enters your life, it doesn't just change your body, it upgrades your entire operating system. Your energy improves, your thinking sharpens, you react to stress differently. You stop numbing yourself with food or TV or distractions. You start feeling your life again, fully, honestly, sometimes painfully, but always with purpose. And yes, the physical changes come too. You lose weight, not because you're chasing a number, but because you're fueling yourself better. You gain strength, not to impress anyone, but because you enjoy what your body can do again. You move differently, stand differently. People notice. More importantly, you notice. You start to respect your body, not for what it looks like, but for what it represents. Resilience, effort, consistency. And the best part? It bleeds into everything else. You become more patient at home, more confident at work, more grounded in moments that used to overwhelm you. Because you've trained for this. You've been showing up for yourself in the dark, quietly, consistently. And now that strength is spilling over into every part of your life. Discipline gives you momentum, and momentum creates transformation. But this transformation isn't a one-time event. It's a lifestyle. It's not about perfection. It's about never giving up on yourself again. It's about showing up even when you mess up. It's about falling down and choosing again to stand. And in that cycle of falling, learning, rising, you grow. Not just stronger, not just leaner, but wiser, more present, more alive. You begin to realize that discipline didn't just help you build a better body, it helped you rediscover your identity, the man you were always capable of being, the man who stopped waiting to feel ready, the man who got up and did it anyway. So if you've been searching for motivation, let it go. You don't need hype, you need heart. And the heart of every transformation is discipline. It's in the early mornings, the quiet meals, the walks in the cold, the stretches when your back hurts, the honest conversations with yourself, the courage to say, this isn't where my story ends. Because it's not. This is just the beginning. You're not too late. You're not too old. You're not done. You're just now learning the truth. Motivation may come and go, but discipline stays. And that right there is your real power.